What's up, guys? This is Bangalore Productions, and in today's video I'm going to be going over a nighttime setup for patrolling and how you can implement some of the things I talk about into your own training and be more prepared for if you happen to find yourself patrolling at night. So first, let's start off with the reasoning behind this video. So if you can't tell, I have night vision now. I bought some, and great purchase. I'm glad I did. They are obviously PBS 14 Gen 2 Plus. It's what I'm familiar with from being in the Marine Corps. I used them a lot exclusively in my first unit for the 2 years I was there. And then in my new unit, I exclusively used the 31s. I prefer the 14s, obviously, for the price. And I prefer just having one tube on, so I still have that situational awareness and peripherals with my off eye. But anyway, they were cheap. That's why I got them. That's why I have the 14. I would rather be able to see at night than not be able to see at night for whoever knows how long until I can afford 31s. So with that being said, we're going to get into the setup for nighttime patrolling and how you can effectively, as a prepared citizen, patrol at night and come back alive. All right, so starting off, firstly, scrim on the Kevlar and on the body. That is just to break up the outline, the human outline, while we are patrolling. If we have to stop for any reason, like let's say it's a reconnaissance patrol, we're stopping for a little bit for a SILS P. If somebody were to see us with their night vision, hopefully it'll break up the outline enough to where they can't really make it out. But in this day and age, we have the threat of thermals, which is a huge threat. And there's a couple ways to combat that, but they're all extremely expensive. So the best way, in my opinion, would be to not patrol at night and to sit down in a fighting hole, covered as best as you can from thermals, and wait up the night. But that's not always the case, and sometimes we have to move at nighttime. Sometimes that is the most advantageous because during the day, now that we face everybody else that has a gun that doesn't have night vision or thermals. So at nighttime, I would say our enemies are effectively decreased to roughly, I would say anywhere from 25 to 50% decrease from what we'd face during the day. Now, this isn't saying that everybody except for you and your team is the enemy, because that's not the case, but depending on the situation, if you're fighting a foreign, military, it depends. Do they all have night vision, or do only a couple have night vision? Do they have thermals? This is just part of your METC that you're gonna have to determine for your training and what you think the most likely threat is. If you always wanna train with the idea that the enemy has Gen 3 night vision and thermals, then train that way. But if you want to train thinking that it might be another nation that might only have a couple of night vision devices per fire team, or maybe even only one thermal per squad, or maybe even no thermals, train how you see fit. And it might not be a foreign invasion, it might be a natural disaster or an EMP strike that could wipe out the power grids. And in that event, people are going to form factions, they are going to fight for supplies, they're going to fight for survival. And in that situation, you might find yourself being one of those, in that situation where you are fighting lots of other people. And in that situation, moving at night is effectively safer. And the reason why is if it's an EMP or something to that extent, if your nods are stored properly in a Faraday bag, hopefully they'll still work and function after that is over, and you can utilize them to effectively patrol at night. Now, this isn't a night fighting kit. The reason why, I have no night aiming device. So you can't really passive aim through an LPVO with night vision. So obviously I'm not gonna be doing a lot of shooting at night. If I have to, I can, but it's gonna be one of those situations where it's more of just suppressive fire than it is accurate fire on targets. If I find myself in that situation. This is a night movement kit, not a night fighting kit. Keep that in mind. Once I get a laser, then it will become a night fighting kit as well. So for night movement, why do we want to move at night? Well, I've already mentioned it, because at nighttime, the amount of people you'll find that have devices to see you is a lot less than during daytime. Because during daytime, everybody will be out, and at night, most people will be trying to bed down and stay in a defensive position so they don't get spotted or seen. So if we're moving at night, we want to be light, we want to be agile, and we want to get whatever we have to get done as quick as possible. So think of this as a night infiltration, moving through different phase lines through our map work. We determine where we have to go, We make our phase lines for what happens at that point in the patrol, right? We have our stops where we stop, and we have set up ORPs, set up rendezvous points. We've done all this, right? Now we want to effectively be lightweight and get to where we have to go through the nighttime without causing any ruckus or without having to use our weapons and get ourselves compromised. So with that being said, I've gone over the reason for all the scrim. That is to keep yourself concealed. Not wearing armor, because like I said, I'm not expecting contact. I'm expecting to move somewhere quickly and quietly through the nighttime. And so that's why I have a chest rig on, just a Spiritus Mark IV with a Lunar Concept expansion wing, so I can carry 2 extra mags or a radio, whatever that may be. I have 3 mags in the front, IFAK, and in the front zipper, compass, because that's one of the most important parts of patrolling. Being able to get to where you want to go precisely is very important. And then in the front compartment, I just have some signaling, a IR buzzsaw, note-taking gear, lighter, and a protractor for map work. And for the rest of the kit, I just have on some M81 tactical pants, boot gaiters. Can't see them, but you know, the same old that I always have on for doing anything. On the Kevlar, one more note, battery pack in the back, so I can carry more batteries for my device, as well as my Peltors, so my ears are protected from just being out and about. If I have to get into an engagement, my ears are protected. Also, they're passive hearing, so it also amplifies more quieter noises. So you can actually utilize that to try to make yourself as quiet as possible while you're walking, because these will super pick up anything. So the quieter you are, you can make sure you're walking really quiet by having your footsteps amplified. It'll also amplify anything around you, so you can hear somebody. If they're in a defensive position and they're being a little loud, whispering, then you can hear that, right? Or you can hear other footsteps around you as well. That's why I like the Peltors. And then in the pants themselves, I have my survival tin, H2Go, and a water collection bag, as well as in my right cargo pocket, I have a VS17 air panel for daytime signaling. If I find myself transitioning from night to day or from day to night, right, when I step off for the patrol. And then in the assault pack, I have a field stripped MRE, a couple extra pairs of socks, and then I have my camelback bladder, and then I have an emergency bivy sack in the event that I find myself having to, I've been out longer than I have to, I need to get a little bit of a shut-eye. Then I have some bolt cutters, so that way if I come across some sort of obstacle, whether it be like a fence or like barbed wire, concertina wire, I can stealthily remove that obstacle from the battle space and continue on with my patrol, and I don't have to do more map work and find an alternate route. I can just keep going on the route that I'm going on, because at night it's a lot easier to get lost. So then, yep, that is what I would carry for a nighttime patrol. Pretty much what you carry during the daytime, just with the addition of having a couple more little gadgets than you would carry during the daytime, that being your night vision and some more nighttime signaling capabilities. Now, I also wanted to talk about some updates for a gun and other stuff like that. So obviously, first update, major one, night vision, awesome. And then for the rifle, I have a new LPVO, and I got a new trigger as well. It's a CMT 2-stage trigger. And then on the rifle, I have a flashlight cover, which is extremely important for nighttime patrolling, because if your flashlight were to negligent discharge, you accidentally press it, nobody's gonna see it and you're safe. You're good to go. The new LPVO is awesome. It blows my old one out of the water. And I've taken it to the range a couple times now, and it's held at 0, as well as I reached out to 720 yards with it with only in a couple shots, whereas the old one took me almost a whole mag to get that far. So that's awesome, and I'm very grateful that I was given the opportunity to get this, as well as the night vision. And yeah, guys, like that's the update. Got some new gun, got some new kit. Haven't had this chest rig before. Everything else is pretty much the same. I changed my scrim out, and I'm just excited, training as much as I can, getting it in, and got some more training planned for the boys within a couple months. So I'll try to get some videos, just more stuff out and about to you guys as I can as time goes on. And I'm still open to recommendations for topics and really anything you guys have in mind, just discussions in general. If you guys have any questions or comments, whatever, just leave them in the comments below, and hopefully I will get some more videos out to you guys in the next couple weeks. So Bangor Productions signing off.